All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let's see where we're going here. Bear with me for just a minute. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Once I hit my screen, if I'm working on a single screen like I am today at home, I can't see who's online. So unfortunately, that's kind of a bummer. But so today we're going to be talking about the CMAs. And as with anything in real estate, there is more than one way to skin a cat. So I'm going to show you two different ways you can do a CMA, how you should be looking at those CMAs depending on your purpose for doing them, and some tips and tricks of what you can do. So what you're looking at right now is called RPR, and this is available if you are part of the National Board of Realtors. You have to have a board membership to be able to log in. If you have a board membership, it is included with your membership. This is by far the easiest place to do a CMA or even just to do general research if you're looking at a property that a seller has contacted you about, or if you are working with a buyer who wants to know if the property is like properly listed at a price that fits the market. So you can use this for a lot of different research methods. We did a training on this before on how to get leads from RPR. We will do a follow-up training on that for those of you who are new. We always repeat those trainings. So if you missed one, chances are in a couple months, we'll have another one. So don't be afraid if you missed it. We will have a follow-up one. There's a lot of things that you can do in the RPR system that are super beneficial. And I don't think agents use it to its full potential. So I'd like to have these kind of mini training sessions just to kind of show you at least the nuts and bolts of the program. So you can also do a CMA on the multi-list. It's not maybe as user-friendly as I would like, but some people prefer using the multi-list over the RPR system. It's completely up to you which one you select. I've just found that the RPR system is super easy to use, especially if you're not super tech savvy, and it does a lot of the hard work for you. But there are some nuances to the program and some things that you have to actually look at without just depending on this algorithm to do it for you. So when you log into the RPR system, this is where it brings you. This is the main screen, and feel free if you have another screen and you have your NAID number, you can go ahead and log in while we're doing this and kind of walk through it as we do this. But this is personalized to you. So each time you work in the RPR system, it's going to save your work. So I can go up here to my work, and I can see my saved properties, my recent searches, my recent reports. So all my reports are going to be here. So if I need to reference something later on, I can. Now, this doesn't save your reports forever. It will save them for a little bit of time. Maybe it's 30 days or 90 days. To be honest with you, I don't exactly know how long it saves it, but I do know that it does not save forever. So just make sure that if you're running a report and you need to keep that in a safe place, that you're downloading it and saving it to wherever you save your files. Up here at the top, we have the home selection. We have research. This is where you can research properties. You have marketing. This is where you can do some marketing investigation, figuring out who you should be marketing to, who is likely to sell. This is where you look at your reports. This is your learning tools. So if you're new to RPR, this is a great research where you can get in there and look at tutorials and step-by-step instructions on how to work the program. These are your help topics, your frequently asked questions. And again, this is my work. This is where we've saved everything in here. RPR on the front, you can click from residential to commercial, depending on what you're doing. I can tell you that residential is way more accurate than commercial. Commercial is a great tool, but you're going to have to do more legwork on commercial because just like, when we're talking about single family homes, There's lots of single family homes that are at least similar in fashion, but that becomes way more difficult with commercial. So you're going to have to do more legwork on commercial. And for this training, that's designed to be for more of the new agent or the less tech savvy agent, we're not even going to jump into commercial right now. We're just going to stick with residential to get our footing on how the program works. Here you can put in property address, you can put in city, you can put in the tax ID, you can put in the MLS ID. However, I do want to mention that putting in anything other than a Situate address, meaning the postal address for the property, is really hard to use. I've tried using the MLS ID. It doesn't always pull the correct information. I've tried putting in the parcel identification number, and because this is pulling nationally, a lot of times you're getting a lot of information from Washington State or Nevada or wherever it's pulling from. So it's way easier just to put in an address. You can pull the status. So do you want to pull for sale comps, for lease comps, active, so on and so forth. Property type, it's going to ask you what kind of property it is. Do you want to pull all data or do you want to pull just something specific? And then it'll ask you whether you want to pull prices on here. There's also more filters here, which you can click on, which gets really, really detailed if that's something that you need. But for this exercise, we're just going to stick with the basics. So there are guided tours here. You can search for a property, prospect for a property, look at market trends, which we go over in a totally different training. You could do a map search, create a CMA, create reports, and you can also download the RPR mobile app. Now, we don't have anything searched yet, so we're just here on the dashboard. So we have nothing in our map search yet. But then if we scroll to the bottom, this is where we have my current listings are right here. So if I want to update that report, send that out to the seller, I can do that just by clicking here. We have my previous reports that are here and my recent searches in case I want to reference those back and pick up where I left off. All right. Any questions on the dashboard? I know that's really quick, but I just wanted to give you an overview on where everything is on the dashboard. No? All right. Perfect. So let's get started with a generalized search of a property. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put in Amanda Huff's listing at 724 Crescent Avenue. This property is currently listed for lease, but let's just assume hypothetically that Pat, the owner of the property, calls Amanda and says, I know we have this for rent, but I'm kicking around the idea of selling it. Would you be able to tell me what it's worth? So she can come right on here to this dashboard, which Amanda uses beautifully, by the way. I don't know if she's jumped on the call, but she does a really good job doing these. And she can just type in that address. And as she types it in, the addresses will pop up down here in the drop-down menu, and you just click here, and it's going to take you to that property's contact card. So you can tell that you can see that it's really detailed. So this is pulling from the MLS, it's pulling from tax data records, it's pulling from all of these different sites, and it's plugging together this property card for us realtors. It's putting all of the information in one easy to look at place, which is what I love about this program. I wish I would have had this program my entire career. We did not. This is something that's probably only been out for, if I had to guess, maybe 5 to 7 years. And it just keeps getting better with time. But this would have saved me so much time in the past. So this is pulling up all the information about this property. And this is really helpful if you have a seller that calls in on the phone and says, I want to sell my house at 123 Main Street. And you can plug this while you're on the phone with your client. You could plug in that address and it's going to pull up the data it has. It'll pull up either the last photo taken that was put on the MLS, or it'll pull up Google Street View, or if Google Street View isn't available, it's going to pull up the satellite map for that property. So you could be looking at the property while you're talking to the seller lead on the phone, which is just imperative. That's irreplaceable. And you're going to have a bunch of information about the seller's house while you're talking to them on the phone and nurturing that lead and turning that lead into a prospect that you have an appointment with. Now, keep in mind that even though this program is absolutely amazing, it does, again, have its nuances. So it's giving you the data that it has, Not always the data that is 100% accurate, because we know that people change their houses. They add additions, they turn walk-in pantries into powder rooms, they remove baths, they do whatever. So just kind of keep that in mind and confirm the information that you have with the seller while you're on the phone. So here we're at the property card here. The photos that we have of the property are right here. So any photos that have gone through the system that the algorithm can pull are going to be here. So you can be clicking through the photos and be like, oh, I see the photos when you bought the property. It looks really cute, blah, blah, blah. You can go in and look at its street view here. Here's the Google Map view. So you can kind of look at what's around it. If you want to scroll around, it's interactive, which is fabulous. You can see the satellite view. So maybe you're talking to the seller and he says, oh, well, we have a barn building in the back of the property or whatever. You can go to the satellite. You can see exactly where that's located. And you can go on to historical photos here. This is going to show you all the photos over the period of time. All right. Over in your right-hand corner, it's going to tell you what the status of that property is. This is currently active for lease. This is going to ping me to tell me that this is currently on the market. And this would also notify me of a potential conflict of interest. Say the seller was calling in and they already have an agent. So that's going to tell you exactly what's going on right up in here. Now it's going to give me some data from the MLS. So here's the lease price, when it went active, and the listing ID in case I want to reference that on the MLS. And this is saying that this is 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It's giving us the square footage of the home. And then this over here, this 3,049, this is the square footage of the lot. So it's giving us a lot of data. Down here, this AVM, and it has these little bubbles here. So if you can't remember what that means, you can click that, you hover over that, and it's going to tell you that it is an estimated value. So this is an estimated value based on the algorithm. The algorithm has put all the data together, and this is saying this home is probably worth $97,000 on the market. There is a range in here. It's going to give you a range, and it's saying that the estimated range based on its location, its assumed condition, and the square footage of neighboring homes are ranging between $63,000 and $131,000. And then it's going to give you its month over month change. So the AVM has improved over last month by $3,000. So the seller of this property has picked up an additional $3,000 in equity in this property over last month. Now over here, the AVM year change says that since he's purchased, and he did purchase this property last year and improved it, so he remodeled the house, it's saying that he has picked up 46.96% equity since he purchased it, which is actually pretty accurate because the house was not in terrible shape, but it was an ugly duckling when he picked it up, and he had to fix it up to get it livable again. So I'm surprised by how accurate this AVM year change is. I think that's really scary accurate. Now above this, you see this star level here, and this is important to pay attention to. With the AVM confidence score is very low. It means that they've put all this data together, but the system is not really sure if the information is accurate or not. So this is telling you how closely you need to comb through the data before sending it to the client to make sure it's accurate. And with a 1 star, this tells me that I've got to go in and I've got to look at all the details and do my research with this report before I send it out. Now, if the confidence score was high, I may, I'm still going to look over the data because that is our job, but I'm probably not going to spend as much time with the CMA as opposed to a 1 star, if that makes sense. Everybody still with me?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Great. Because remember, I can't see it, so I got to ask. All right, now we have basic facts in the bottom here. It's a single family home. Last closed price was $63,000. The owner here is PIK Residential Properties LLC, and it is a single family home. Okay, so it's giving you some data there. Down here, we have some pricing tools. We can look at the lease price is $1,000 a month. The system is saying it's worth $97,000. Or we could look at a CMA value and do a manual estimation of price. We can estimate a refined value of price here, And we can also do a seller's net cost sheet here. For this training, we're going to be focusing on the CMA value. We can get into the refined value and the seller's net cost sheet functions in here in a further training. But just to keep things short and within the hour of time you guys have allotted me, we're going to focus here. Just real quickly down here, I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is the data from the MLS that it's pulling over. It's giving you some property facts so you can change it and update the system. So let's assume that these people, since PIK has bought it, he put on an addition on the back and now it has a 4th bedroom. You could put your changes over here and tell the system this is no longer a 3-bedroom, this is a 4-bedroom. So you can update that, and then you can update the square footage. Let's say it put up a garage, the owner put up a garage, you can put that they, built a 2-car garage in the back, and then just update those facts and save. So the algorithm then updates in the system. So the next time you pull it, it'll have those updated facts. All right. So now that you know what that looks like, we're going to run a manual CMA. So go ahead and you would click Create CMA from in the property card. It's going to pull up this screen, and this screen is going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to complete your CMA. The very first thing you're going to do is you're going to confirm facts, and it's going to ask you to make sure that all the facts are accurate, and it's important that you do this step. Make sure that you're going through either with the seller, or if you've already been to the property, confirm that the facts here are true and accurate, because homes change over time. As each new person moves into a home, they change it in some manner. Some people change the overall cosmetic condition. Some people change the structural condition of the property. So just make sure that the facts are in there and are accurate. In this case, he has not changed the blueprint of the house at all. So I'm accepting and confirming the facts. And then I'm moving down to step 2, search for comps. I'm clicking find comps here, and we have this search window that comes up. Now, since this is a CMA for marketing purposes, I want to look at what's currently active for sale, what's pending, what's active under contract, and what has recently closed. Now, if I was doing a more refined search where I was looking to estimate the after repair value for a house that he already owns, or to estimate what the appraisal value of the property is going to be that day, I may adjust my search and remove active for sale, pending, and active under contract, and then just look at those closed comps. So keep in mind that when we're looking to market a property, we want to know what the competition for the property is. So what's actively on the market and what has recently closed, as opposed to looking at a property that we're not looking at for marketing purposes, but maybe looking for, an example would be an investor who's buying a property from us that is in distressed condition that he's going to put money into and then sell later on. We want to know what the closed comps are, what's closing now, so that we know what our spread is in the middle. And we'll go over that in more detail in a follow-up training. But for this training, again, we're just looking at something. We're working with a seller. They want to put their house on the market. We need to know what our competition is, and that's why we're running the CMA. All right, off-market date. It's going to auto populate within 3 months. I always change this to within last 12 months. Now, you can do what is comfortable for you. I always use last 12 months because that gives me more data range, and an appraiser is likely to use comps as old as 12 months old if there are not enough comps within a 6-month window to be able to complete the appraisal. So I'm looking at 12 months because I want a generalized idea of what this home is worth. Haven't been there yet, and I want something to present the seller and give them a range or an average of what homes are selling for. So I'm doing a 12-month average. And then down here, it's starting with 2 bedrooms. I want to narrow this down to 3 bedrooms. I know this area, and I know in Elwood City, we're going to have enough 3-bedroom comps, like-to-like properties, to give us a very accurate CMA value. So I only want to look at 3 bedrooms. So I've changed this. If you have a house that's maybe 5 bedrooms, and that does happen, and you put 5 to 5, I promise you that it's not going to filter enough data for you to complete the CMA. So if you have an instance like that, where maybe you have, and there's my dogs, maybe you have a 1-bedroom comp or a 5-bedroom comp, you're going to need to keep that range in there and open that range up a little more, maybe 1 bedroom less or 1 bedroom more in that range, to be able to really get comps that are going to fit your subject property. There's lots of other things you can do. You can calculate the baths, the living room, the living area square footage, the lot size. There's a lot of different filters that you can use to really whittle down on what you want to search for. But let's just do a general search and see what comes up. All right, here we are. These are the comps that it has found. Now you're going to see that there are two different types of comps in the sold comp category, and all your sold comps are here up at the top. They'll come up first, and there are closed public record and closed for sale record. The two are different. So the closed public record means that it closed and transferred, however, not on the market. So this could be a for sale by owner. This could have been a sheriff's sale. It could have been a tax sale. It could have been a transfer between family members. It could have been a transfer out of an estate into an heir's name. So there's lots of different reasons why these can transfer. So I want you to be very careful when looking at these closed public records to make sure that they are an accurate reflection of the property that you are looking to put on the market. Now, there's a lot of properties that are going to be in there that have these ridiculous prices, and that's going to be your trigger to know, wow, the average home in Elwood City does not sell for $4,820. That just seems odd. To me, I would assume that this house was probably in very distressed condition, sold at a tax sale, or sold between family members. So this in this case would not be a comp for me because it's just completely off on left field where the price would be. Now, when you look at your on-market properties, this is going to be a more solid opinion of price compared to what your subject property is going to be. So you can see the 711 Park Avenue in Elwood City closed on the MLS after 154 days. It closed on January 5th, so not that long ago, for $133,000. That's pretty close. So let's take a look at the property detail here just to make sure that we're doing kind of apples to apples comparison, and it's the same style of house. Now, this property has 3 bedrooms and 3 baths, but it is a 3-bedroom. So this could potentially be a comp for us. Let me see here. Sorry, my screen is blipping over. Now we're going to go ahead and select this add to comps list here. And you can see when you click that little button, it's going to show up in your right sidebar. This is kind of in queue for us to build our report. We have this next one at Park Avenue for $53,000. Again, this one here, you can see that the owner of it is an LLC, so that kind of triggers me. And actually, I sold this property off market, so I can tell you that the home is in distressed condition, so I would not accept that comp. We have this one at 516 7th Street in Elwood City. Let's see. It looks like it's a private owner. Sold in November. We can go ahead and add that. Whether we'll keep it or not, I'm not sure. We have this one here, closed for sale at 709 Wayne Avenue. That's only a couple blocks away. Let's grab that one. And let's see if we can find maybe one more good one here. 607 Wayne. That one, yep, that one closed on market. I also sold that one. So let's grab that one. And we'll grab one more. And let's grab an off-market one here at 502 Wayne Avenue. Let's grab that. All right. So how many do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always like to get 6 if possible. So let's see if we can find one more that would be a good one. This one here on Center Avenue, even though it's not too far away, it is a ranch and ours is a 2-story. So I'm going to count that one out. It's just not like for like, but here's one. 844 Western Street, Elwood City, 2-story, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Perfect. There we go. Now that we have our 6 comps, we're going to go back up to the top, review the comps that you've selected, and click Update Valuation and Close. Now the algorithm is going to do its stuff, and it's going to come up with our comp analysis here. So you can see that down here it's updating the values of everything. Now, what we can do if we really want to refine our search, we can go into Adjust Comps. Or if you've never been to the property, you can stop here and just leave this as a general range. So you can see that the range here is $82,900 to $185,000. and the system is pumping out that the average sales price for the property that's in that location is 132. Now, I've been to the house, so I know that 132 is a little high for the updates that are in this house. The house is cute, but it's not very modern and maybe doesn't have some of the other amenities that some of the other comps have. But if I've never been to the house and I've never seen it, I wouldn't have this information at hand. So I would probably just do a generalized estimated report, having this data in here, and then going to see the house so that I can further refine it later on. But since I already know that the information about the property, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click adjust comps. And that is going to pull up your step 3 window where it's giving you your side-by-side comparison of the comps. So this program here makes it super easy for a new agent who maybe does not understand or does not know yet off the top of your head, because there's no like blue book for it. What different things cost, how to decrease or increase a comp to make it fit what your subject property is. So the RPR report makes it very easy. So I'm looking at 711 Park Avenue. You can go through the photos here and take a look at what it has. And I tell you what, it looks pretty sharp. It looks like it's fairly updated. That kitchen, oh, it's gorgeous. They've done a lot of work in here, and it looks like this property is quite a bit nicer than my subject property. So right in here, it says, how does this property compare to the subject? It's definitely better. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this scale over to better. Now we're going to go to the next comp and look at the photos, and you can pull these up as bigger photos too, but it's not going to show on my screen. So you don't have to worry about putting on your glasses to look at it. But I'm looking at this and okay, it's cute. It's definitely cute, but I can't say it's all that more modern than my house. Maybe it's a little bigger, but it's not really more modern. And the square footage in this algorithm will calculate the square footage for you. So that's not something you have to worry about. Let's move on to 709 Wayne. Oh, is that gorgeous? That kitchen is all updated. It looks like they've removed walls and really opened that up. So this subject is definitely better than my subject property. So I've got those 3 comps. I'm going to go down here and click next. And we're going to look at the next 3. All right, 607 Wayne is definitely bigger than my subject property, but the condition is about the same. So I'm going to leave it the same. 502 Wayne, let's take a peek here. Up, it has a garage. Looks like as far as condition, it's probably about the same, but it does have that garage. So we're going to make that one slightly better. And last but not least, 844 Western Street. Let's go through these photos. Okay, it's cute. It's not over the top, but I would say it's maybe just a tad or just slightly better. So let's go ahead and put that in the slightly category. When you're all done and you feel confident about your evaluations, you can click down here that says Update, Evaluation, and Close. All right, now it has updated what it thinks its value is. So you can see at the top, we started with 132, and then we have now made adjustments down to 15,616. And now our comp value has changed to 116,473. So let's go ahead and create that report. When you hit create report, it's going to bump you over to this screen, and it's going to ask you what type of report that you want to run. There's a bunch of different reports that you can run here. I like to stick with the seller's report because the seller's report is the all-inclusive report. So it's including all of these like little pages all in one. So I click the seller's report, but you can feel free to play around with those. They're completely customizable. You can view samples by clicking the view sample. But just for time's sake, let's go ahead and run that report. This pop-up window is going to come up, and it says that it's running the report, and it does take a few minutes. So you just want to come up here to the top and just wait for that to finalize. While that's finalizing, does anybody have any questions on the stuff we just reviewed with this report?
No.
No? Is there anybody here who has not used the RPR system yet?
Obviously me.
All right, we're going to give it a minute here. Just let it takes about 2 minutes to come up, and then we'll see different ways that you can, what it looks like and how you can save it. There we go. Usually when it comes up, you hear a little doorbell that goes off that tells you it's ready in case you're on another page. But this is super, there it goes. All right. So you can click right here on the property address, and it's going to pull you up a PDF of the full report that can be downloaded and you can share with your clients either via email, or you can print this out and have this ready for them in their seller presentation packet. So you can see here, it's got the title page here. You have the data here that you pulled, and it's saying that the algorithm says it's 97, but your comp analysis says it's worth 116. Again, here's your range. So if you're going in blind, you've never been to this house, you have a range here, and you can explain to the sellers that, you know, the value range is between 82 and 143, and condition and square footage and amenities are going to come into play. So me as your agent, I'm here to evaluate where you fall in this range. It's going to give home facts, and it's going to show in a beautiful detail everything that you just went through. It's going to say what your livability index is, like how's the housing, how's the neighborhood, how's the transportation, how's the environment. It's going to go over school district ratings. It's going to show photos of the subject property along with all the comps. It's going to give so much data in here, and I don't want to go over page by page, but please, if you have not done one, go through and actually digest this information and make sure that your sellers have a copy of it. This is invaluable information that shows them what your value add is and why they should select you as their agent, because you've done the work. You've done all of this. Sorry, there goes the dogs. Hey. Give me just 1 second. Sorry. Sorry, guys. When my dogs start barking, I have to get out a squirt bottle because they can't be trusted. All right. So this is going to show the seller that you've done so much information, so much research to prepare yourself for coming to see them. So this is establishing your value as a real estate professional. All right, let me see here. You can also, you can download the report. You can post it to Facebook, which I don't know why you would post it to Facebook. You can rerun the report at any time if you need to update it because it's going to expire. So there's just lots of things that you can do on here. Let me stop sharing here. All right, great. Sorry about that. Sorry that my dogs just bark obsessively. This is why I don't work from home. There is another report that you can do, and you can do that through the MLS. I don't like it as much, but I know that a lot of people prefer it over RPR, especially, you know, the agents who were around before we had RPR. So let me show you real quick on how to do that. But if you are not part of the Board of Realtors, you can go onto the MLS at any time and run your CMA. It's just maybe just not as fancy. So let me get on here and share that screen with you. Is there anybody here that does run their CMAs on the West Penn multiple listing service? No, nobody does it that way. All right. Well, I can tell you that this used to be the only way that we could run them. So I haven't done one here in a number of years, just because I prefer the RPR system. But you can do them on here. Like I said, they take a little extra time, and they're maybe not as fancy as the RPR one. Can everybody see my MLS screen?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is the home screen. As you can see, this is where all of our data is. Everybody's, I think, pretty familiar with this, except for Becca, who will be in the near future. All right, so what you want to do for your CMAs, you want to go up to My Matrix and pull down on My CMAs. And that is going to bump you over to your screen. You can see that I don't have any CMAs in here because I haven't done one in such a long time that they've all expired. But you can start a new one by clicking Start a New CMA right there underneath the heading. It is going to take you to this screen where you're going to go ahead and select your contact client. And let me see if I can type. Let's go into more. And like I said, I haven't done this in so long, but let me find, I think I have one for myself in here. Yep, I do. I still have a tester in there. Okay. So my contact name, it's going to be for me. You can put in, select your type. So you can do cross property or the MLS 360 property. We're going to do cross property because we're going to do it old school. And you can put some kind of description in here. You can put whatever you want. This is your pre-marketing, seller CMA, or use estimated values only, or whatever you want to put in there. All right. Once you have that data in, let me hide my little button here. We're going to go next to pages, and we're going to determine which pages we want to have in our CMA. It will default for you. And here are some of the items that it defaults, but you can put in any additional ones that you want just by clicking here and then adding it over. So but these are all default for you. So if you're not sure what to pick for your first one, just go ahead and stay with the selected pages. Next, we're going to go to subject, and we can enter in a cross property here, or we can search for a property. I'm going to do it old school and just type it manually. And I'm going to put in, let's put in the house that I sold last year that I owned. It was my home where I raised my children. So we're going to go with Lyndhurst Ave, and that was in 16117. That was in Perry Township, Elwood City, PA. All right, so we're putting that in there, and then it's going to ask us to put in some data about the property. It is a single family. This was a Cape Cod. It had 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths, gas forced air, cooling was central, basement was finished, pole, no, construction was existing, acres, 0.5. I don't remember the lot size, taxes, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to put in here that it had a garage. It had 2 detached. All right, so I put in the general property information here, and then I'm going to go to my cover page. And this is where I can upload a photo of the property if I have one. I don't have one on me, so I'm just going to leave it blank. And then I can put my contact information over here, whatever I want that contact information to be. And this is where all of the agent information shows up at the bottom of your cover page. Next, we're going to click through to comparables, and I'm going to add comparables, and our search bar that we're all familiar with comes up. So I want to look at active, contingent, under contract, and sold. And I'm going to do a map search here of within a half mile of the subject property. And let's see. Well, if I could type, that would be great. Let's see if it'll pull. There it goes. It pulls up. The system has recognized it. And I'm going to go down here and click results. Now, this is where you're manually going through each and every listing to be able to help you determine what is a comp and what is not a comp. Now, I know this pretty well because I owned the house for 10 years. I know that all of these on Clearwater Drive, these are all patio homes. They're condo style, so I would not use those as a comp. But I would look at, let's see, this Wilden Avenue. Let's take a look. Wilden Avenue, 112. Okay. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. So that could potentially be a comp there. This one here on River Road, nope, that's vacant land. So we're clicking through. Lundy's Lane for 110. It's a 2-bedroom. That's not going to be a comparable. Mine was 4. We've got this one, which is a ranch. And although I'd love to have this as a comp, it is not. Clearwater, nope, that's those condos. So we're going to go ahead and click through the Clearwater ones. 506 Portersville Road, that is also a ranch. So we're not going to keep that one. Morningstar Drive, 4 bedrooms. Okay, that's a little too large. Clearwater's another condo. So nope, nope. And there's a ton of them because they all surround this house. So we're going to click add selected. And I think we only have one comp there. Well, it's not enough to complete it. So let's go add from listings and let's search again. We're going to go in here this time to 2 miles. And I want only residential this time. And let's take a look at, we want residential single family only. And I'm going to go to Elwood City School District because the farther we get out, we're getting more into crossing over between Elwood City and Riverside. So I only want to look at Elwood City. And I know that my property there was worth over 200,000. So I'm going to go between the price range of 200 to 300,000. And it looks like we have 5 comps. So let's see what those are. We've got one here on Gulf Avenue, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Okay, that's close enough. Let's look at 920 Crestwood is a ranch, so that's not going to be a comparable. This is a log home. Again, not a great comparable. So we're going to skip that one. This one on Martin Avenue, it's a cape. Mine was a cape. This is 4-bedroom, 2 bath. Okay, so this is getting really close. Go to next. Argonne Boulevard here. This is a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. It's really hard to tell what kind it is. I have no idea what that is, but I don't really think that that was a comp for mine. So let's go to add selected and see what we have. We have 3 here. Next, we're going to go to the map. If it'll let me. Sorry, my internet's being slow. And it's showing me where the comps are on the map in correlation to where my home is. So they're not that far away. And the most important step is the adjustments. So on the RPR report, it does a lot of the adjustments for you. Here, you kind of have to do it old school, and you have to know what the adjustments and pricings are to be able to complete the MLS CMA. I always like to do it in detail mode because it gives me a picture of the property and it puts them side by side. You can do it in single line mode if you want. It's just a little bit more challenging to do it that way. I always prefer the detail mode. So now we're looking for like. So we've got 4 bedrooms on the subject, but we've got 3 bedrooms on the comp. So we need to increase the comp value so that we're comparing apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. This is where your knowledge, your real estate knowledge has to come into play of knowing what the difference in prices are between the subject property and the comparable property. So to me, off the top of my head, and these may not be 100% accurate because I have not done the research on this particular property to know exactly what it is. But with me, I know that my extra bedroom probably equated to about $15,000 worth of additional revenue for my home. So I'm going to put that in there. Now, a bathroom carries about the same weight. So I'm going to go ahead and put $15,000 additional revenue into the subject property because, again, we're trying to make that apples to apples. Now, this one had a partial bath and mine did not. So I'm going to subtract $7,000 for that partial bath. We both had gas heat. We both have central air. We both had a finished basement. Neither one of us had a pool. Construction is about the same. My lot was slightly bigger. So let's just assume that that equates to an additional $5,000 for my lot over the comps lot. The inclusions, my inclusions were exactly the same, although I did not put those in. And this one has no garage and just parking. So I had a 2-car garage, which equates for about another $20,000 in value to mine. Now you can see that we've made adjustments to this home is being marketed for $179,900, but it has features that mine has features that mine does not have, and mine has features that it does not have. So we've done our calculations, and based on the adjustments, this home, if it was exactly like 506 Lyndhurst, should be valued at $227,900. Does that all make sense for everybody?
Yes.
Everybody following along? Okay. Any questions before I move on and do it again? No? All right, let's do it again with the next one. So we click next and it goes to the next comp, which is 427 Gulf Avenue. And we've got 4 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add to the subject property because our subject property has something more than the comp value has. And I know a lot of agents will get kind of tripped up with the additions and the subtractions. I know this was in your licensing courses eons ago, but it's still one of the most common things. Like, do I add to it or do I subtract? Do I subtract from the subject property and add to the subject property, or do I add and subtract from the comparable property? So keep in mind, you're always adding and subtracting the comparable. You're never adding or subtracting the subject. We're never changing the subject. We're changing the comp. So again, looking at bathrooms, my subject had 1 more bathroom than the comp. So we're adding to the comp to make the system assume it had 2 bedrooms. And then I can't talk today. The comp has a powder room. So we need to take that away in the program. So we're taking away the powder room because the subject doesn't have one. Again, we're going down through here, making sure that all of the information is accurate. Parking description, it has a detached garage. So this one has a 3-car detached garage where mine only has a 2-car detached garage. So we're going to subtract from here $5,000 for the extra stall. And it looks like the adjusted value of that is $237,900. So moving on to do it again to comp 3, we have 4 for 4. That's beautiful. 2 for 2. That's beautiful. That stinking powder room again. So we've got to remove that value. We have gas for gas, central for central, basements, yes, pole. This one has a pole. So let's remove some value for that pole. Construction is still comparable. Acreage, my lot was twice as big. So let's add to that value for the extra lot because my house had 2 lots. Their house has 1 lot. Now the inclusions, we're not even taking into account for this exercise, but you would if, say, your subject property has no appliances and the comp does have appliances, you would need to bring a value to those appliances. And it looks like it has a detached 2-car garage, which is exactly the same. So we've got our adjusted value of 2,035. So when we're done, we click next. And let's go to pricing. All right, so this is calculating out your pricing. The lowest comp for this Lyndhurst Avenue area is $179,900. The highest is $219,900. The average is $205,100, and the median price is $215,500. So if you're basing this off of just what's on the market, this comparable, I can't talk, dang it, the comparable value is right here without adjustments. Now down below, it's going to tell you after you've made adjustments to make it apples to apples and not apples to oranges, what do those numbers hold? And you can see that they've changed pretty drastically, meaning that this house, if it was in the worst condition compared to the homes around it, would sell for $203,000. If it was the best house as far as condition on the block, the very, very best, like they literally needed to do nothing. You walk in, it looks like it was just built yesterday. The highest it would sell for is $237,000. If this is the average home in average condition, the home would be worth $223,100. So I can tell you that I lived in this house for 10 years. And then when we were done, we actually flipped the house. So we did get on the higher end for the house. But again, everything was brand new and nothing had been used in this house. So if I would have sold it before flipping it, it would have been more in this 2035 or maybe even a little bit lower because it was pretty dated. I raised 4 kids in that house, and trust me, they were all boys. So boys are tough. All right. So down here is where you can put your suggested list price that's going to show up on your CMA report. And you can put a little blurb in there that I believe based on the overall condition and the age of the upgrades, in addition to the amenities and appliances being included with the house, that the list price for this property should be $235, or it should be $229.9, or whatever it is going to be. And then this is where you can add additional notes. So if I was doing this CMA and I hadn't seen the property yet, I was just doing this for research, this is where I would put in the notes that this is for research purposes only. The agent has not seen the house, and it is subject to additional research to determine what the listing price is going to be. Next, you click finish. This is where you can view your CMA and you can email it. So let's go ahead and click the view button. And it's going to generate that PDF that you can print out to present in your seller's packet. Or you can go ahead and download it, save it, email it to them. You can also email it right from the MLS system. That way you can keep it with you. But this is, again, something great to take with you to your listing appointments, even if you've never been there, just to show that you've done the work and you've gotten all the data on the house. So you're showing up completely prepared. When you go to a listing appointment, the worst thing that you want to do is show up with a listing packet and a business card. I see agents do that all the time, not from our brokerage, but from many other brokerages. I love coming in as the second agent for a listing appointment and walking in and seeing a listing packet and a business card stuck on the table, never filled out. And then I come in with my big listing presentation and my CMA. And I know all of the data, I know all the information about the property, and I'm just super well prepared to show the sellers why they should select me and what my value is and what I bring to the table. So this is what the CMA looks like. It looks way different than the RPR report. Love it or hate it. It's completely up to you. Both can be utilized. But you'll probably pick a program that is just, better for you. It doesn't matter which one you use. And there's lots of other programs out there that you can actually pay for. I have tried them over the years. Some are great, some are terrible, some integrate with the MLS, some do not. So I would definitely try to use one of these programs, as they are already included in the fees that you are paying and have access to. There's really no reason to go out and buy another program. But again, your business, totally up to you what you want to do. All right, what questions do we have on the MLS CMA? Nobody? Quiet.
No, I just had a question. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I did not have a question, so go ahead.
The RPR, I would have to become part of the association in order to use that program, correct?
Correct. You do have to, you have to be on the board of realtors. You have to have a board of realtors membership. And even if you don't go to the meetings or don't do a lot with the board, they offer so many tools that are imperative to your business. One of the things you won't have access to is the RPR. You will also not have any access to the PAR forms, which are the forms that we all use to be able to do sales agreements and listing contracts and stuff like that. So there's not too many instances, unless you are on a team, where you can't be on the board. Our NAR is very good about making sure that agents kind of have to be on the board to be able to function in our market. So that's why I always tell all new agents, you have to select a board. If you don't select a board, you're going to be stuck in the mud and not be able to do much of anything.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What were you going to say, Belle?
I just was going to say I've used both MLS and RPR, and personally, I like the RPR one better.
Oh, I love the RPR one. I'm a huge RPR fan. The minute I found out that RPR existed, I never did another CMA on the multi-list ever again. It's just forget this. I can do them. I can whip them out in less than 5 minutes a report. Where with the MLS one, because it's so old school, I get it that like the MLS is probably way more of an accurate report, because you manually have to do everything. You have to put in, your credits and debits in your adjustment. It's way more accurate. So the MLS is extremely way more accurate, in my opinion, than the RPR report. But for us as agents, as we're going to a seller's house, it's not our job to appraise a property. It's our job to find out what is the marketable range, what's the safe range that a seller can list in. So in the case with like 724 Crescent Avenue, that tells me that safe average is 113. So that's when I would sit down and talk to my client and say, okay, we know that the average price, average condition home is 113,000 based on our adjustments. So how aggressive, like how quickly do you want to get this sold? Are we okay with it sitting on the market for 120 days? Or do you need this sold in the next 30 days because you have to sell your home before you buy another one? And then we can start working on a pricing strategy that fits what their needs are. So if a seller tells me I really need this under contract in 30 days because I have to take the money from this to buy my new house, I'm like, okay, well now we're going to get aggressive with the pricing. So we're going to price that at maybe 105 or 99. So that it sells quickly. So we're slightly under market. But if he tells me, well, I don't care if it sits for 120 days. Okay, maybe we list it at 115 or 119.9. So because we're not so much in a rush. So let's play the market for 2 weeks, and let's both agree that if it doesn't sell for 119.9 within the first 2 weeks, then we're going to drop it down to 115 for 2 weeks, and then we're going to drop it down to 110 for the following 2 weeks. So this is where it kind of opens up that conversation, and you're finding that need, and you're saying, okay, what's your need? What's your goal? How quickly do we gotta all get this done? And that's really going to determine where you price that property in that window. Dave, what program are you using?
RPR when I do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I love the RPR report. So is there anything else with the RPR or with the MLS that you guys would like me to cover before we get off of this call? Because I promised to keep you within an hour. No? All good? All right. Well, as you're playing around with these, as you're starting to learn how to do these, feel free to give me a call if you get stuck. That's what we're here for. Throw a message on Slack, send an email, be happy to go over this again. And if you're not real confident at the CMAs, play around with addresses. Find something that's currently on the market, throw that in RPR, and then try to make a CMA with it that establishes that price. So that's the best way to practice, is find something that's currently sale pending or under contract. Doesn't have to be your listing. It can be anybody's listing on the MLS. Start putting that into RPR and then making those adjustments until you get to the price that it's under contract for. So if you see a listing that is 189 and it went under contract within the average days on market, and you want to replicate that into your RPR report, use that as a guide to practice. And I think that's the best way to really figure out doing the adjustments with better or worse, selecting the right comps. And once you get the RPR report to pump out what that house was listed for, because you already know that it accepted an offer, that's going to help you gauge, how well you're using the RPR report or how much you need to practice at it. So you can run as many RPR reports in a month as you want to. You have unlimited access to it. Run as many as you want to practice. So there's no limit to them. So use it to get stronger when you're showing up on those listing appointments. So when you walk in to talk to a seller, you are confident that you know your stuff. So, all right. If you guys need anything from me today, I will be traveling because we are doing some things for the holiday here, but I will have my phone on. So please feel free to give me a buzz or shoot me a text. If for any reason you cannot get a hold of me, please throw a message on Slack. We have the admin standing by to help out, and your fellow agents are always available to jump in if needed. So everybody, if I don't talk to you beforehand, have a wonderful holiday weekend. And I'll see you guys Monday at the monthly meeting.
Thanks. Happy Easter to you too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Easter,
Bye.
bye.